There's a parrot in the house. I kid you not. There's a man who's been sat down with his wife and he's got a parrot on his shoulder. I think he must have been, he's a reincarnation of, I don't know, a sailor. The parrot, sorry, keeps cutting off. I used to have a white budgie, which was an albino budgie. It used to live in a cage, which is not nice, but I was young and stupid. But I took it out all the time, and it used to land on all my customers because I had a hairdressing salon, and it lived in the hairdressing salon, and it did tricks for people. It's beautiful. Parrot just asked the guy on the piano to play I'm begging you for bird seed. I'm begging you for bird seed. Why don't parrots ever get a headache? Because parrots eat them all. Not funny at all. How you doing, guys? I should check my oh, probably not even in here, is it? Oh, it is. Oh, it is. Let me screw it back in. Sorry, I have to screw it back in. Nice and tight. It's my tripod. Right, hang on. Sorry about that. Welcome everybody. With the music playing in the background. How you all doing? I was on a, I don't know if any of you saw it, I was on a live last night with Sheep Farm. Chris wasn't there, but Dom was. And Phil was brought in from the, is it Imish? I can't remember what. Anyway, lovely lad. I'm going to get him on my YouTube podcast soon. But yeah, it was great having a chat. So I mentioned a few people have been a little bit not very kind in their words, because I mentioned Esther Ranson, and Esther Rancid, I call her. Many years ago, when my first mentor was exposing all of these things to me, telling me about the satanic world, and that there's a lot of evil that takes place under the disguise of magic, and that's with a K, or sometimes with a CK. And she told me stories that I knew deep down, you know deep down, something was never right. And she told me about Rancid's husband, and she mentioned not such good things with little boys and stuff like that. Do I know? No, I don't know. But are people placed in certain positions of power to allow the very nature of the beast to continue, which is all roads lead to paedophilia? And paedophilia has been going on for centuries, you know, and any form of three-letter agencies or any huge corporations that claim to be charities, my understanding to all of them is that it's a front for the very same reason, to continue and to uphold the very nature of what they're saying that they're trying to help. Basically, they're a brick wall to stop anything from actually coming out. So when children used to call, they would be thinking they were speaking to somebody who cared, when nothing ever actually happened. Just like most of those people who work in that big building, in most of the big buildings around the world, whether they be royal families, whether they be government buildings, parliament, they're all protected. They're paedophile protected, basically. So you've got an absolute cesspit of disgusting child rapists that are in these buildings. And that's what I was told by my first mentor. And although it didn't surprise me, there were so many things that you're never told, you know. My first mentor used to read for a lot of very famous people, so when we'd sit there, she said, well, you know Tom Cruise is gay, right? And I'm like, I don't know, and I don't actually care whether he is or not. And she used to tell me a lot of stuff that I wasn't really bothered about, to be honest. Who gives a shit whether you're gay or not? But when it comes down to paedophilia, when it comes down to satanic ritual abuse, she was pretty much in the forefront of understanding it, because she used to help the FBI when they used to ring up for child sacrifice. Where is the body? She used to try and help them find the bodies. That's what she did. She did do. I saw her. I came up the stairs. Whether she was lying or not, I don't know, but I could definitely hear her reading the cards, and I'm like, that sounds really dark. And she says, yeah, it's just somebody from the FBI. I'm like, wow, really? Wow. So again, I'm not really that bothered about any of that stuff, because I was never interested in the satanic. I wasn't interested in magic. I wasn't interested in doing magic. I wasn't interested in spells. I wasn't interested in any of those things. But I was interested in the unknown, meaning the future, the present and the past, knowing that, having an understanding of it and feeling it. And is it real? Is the future real? Can we see it? Is there, you know, because you could argue that there's definitely a timeline that we tune into, because if we can see it, then it must be either written or it's already happened. How do we see something that hasn't happened? unless it has happened, or unless it's written somewhere that it will happen. So is it all scripted? Is our life scripted already for us? Fascinating. I don't have the answer. I don't think nobody does. Everybody thinks they know wrong from right, but they don't. I don't even think people know what right is these days, what morals are. You know, people talk about natural laws. People talk about that a lot. Lots of people talk about that all the time, and what does that even mean? You know, I don't think any of us really truly understand what a natural law is. What is it, you know? Because we're all so confused with religion and the lies that has been programmed to us. So, you know, I don't know. All I know is that I know what's inside me. What I do morally is what I live by. So my main moral is do no harm. And I probably do a lot of harm to people all the time when I say things. Not knowing, unwilling, or unknowing. I'll say things or maybe do something that may have a traumatic effect on somebody's life. But I think we all do. So I don't think nobody's exempt from that. But, you know, all of these man-made laws, or these laws, what they talk about, are given from the tablets, which weren't tablets, they were round balls. That's why they call. That's why it's called the testicles, testes. Anyway, by the by, I don't need laws or man-made laws to tell me what's right and wrong. In the sense of, I just do my best, and I can do things in my life that I look back and think that wasn't smart. What I did to myself, but it's not. As long as I don't do no harm, then how can there be sins? They're not sins. So I don't listen to that nonsense. I just listen to my consciousness. But interesting days we are right now. Interesting, very interesting what's happening in the world right now. And I don't know if any of you seen that they're pushing the UFO agenda now more. So I wonder what's going to happen there. It's all a circus. It's all a stage show. All of it. None of it is coincidence. It's all by design. It's all man-made. It's all manipulated. And it's all for good reasons to put fear into people. And to, fear is the most powerful, addictive energy. Fear is number one seller in this world. It really is. Fear sells more than religion, God, bad. Fear is number one seller. So if you know what the number one seller is, you're going to use it, aren't you? Especially if you are a bad person, especially if you are a weak person, especially if you haven't really got any morals, especially if you're a lazy person, you're going to use fear to boost your online presence. If you're a criminal, you're going to use fear to scare anybody from taking over your corner where you sell drugs. You're going to use fear if you're a crooked politician to scare the shit out of people for them to vote for you. Ask yourself, how many people do you really love and listen to and respect who just talk in a lovely way? Who is just lovely and kind and caring? It's like nil and void. It's nobody really listens to people who are nice. They listen to people with shock. And when you watch all of these, new up and coming, I say very, very relevant to the system's programming, BDD, whatever his name is, the guy who's obviously huge now, who's interviewing everybody, and he talks like he's, the president himself. PBD, something like that. The multi-gazillionaire. I'm sure if you tap into his past and asked him, have you ever done anything that you're ashamed of? If he had I don't know, Wonder Woman's belt on, I'm sure he'd say, yeah, I probably ripped a lot of people off, but you know what, it's okay, because I'm a little bit of mafia, you know what I mean? I'm a little bit of mafia, huh? So I do a Corleone, you know, I just go to the Vatican and they give them a bit of money and I'm okay now. They denounce my sins. You know, I'm sorry guys, but if you're in the world of you can sugarcoat it as much as you want, but that guy sold pyramid schemes, Ponzi schemes, all of that shit, and then talks as if he's, you know, anybody who's in insurance, I'm sorry guys, but insurance is a con. It's just a con. All insurance is. It's the biggest con. They're as crooked as banks. So don't be fooled by the smart haircut and the fancy talk. And now look who I've got on my podcast. I've got all the main men on my podcast. Yeah, because you've bought them all, because you're part of the very system that has made you who you are and allowed you to continue. You don't think if they want to destroy you in a minute, they could pull out all your skeletons in the closet, or what you did, and all those people who sometimes post that you ripped me off years ago. Yeah, they disappear quickly, don't they? So I'm sorry guys, but I just don't buy into it. And all of these who used to work on Fox News are now, you know, meant to be the new alternative media. I mean, wake up guys. They're not. Just because they're talking a different language to what they used to talk, that doesn't mean that they're born again Christians. It's bullshit guys. They just follow the narrative. They would have stayed right where they were. They just, sometimes you can have a little bit of a feeling of this is all going south. This is all going wrong. This isn't working anymore. You just jumped ship, pal. That's all you did. You jumped ship. That doesn't make you a hero. You jumped ship because you know it was sinking, or else you'd still be there. And people look at them as heroes now. All of them. They think they're all heroes. Tulsi Gabbard, all of the, you know, RFK Jr. I mean, guys, wake up. It's all politics. They're all owned by somebody. If you're in politics, you're owned by somebody. So the Israeli lobby own them all. All those that you think are Trump and all that, they have their master. And they will do exactly what Israel tells them to do. And I'm talking about those at the top. But you know, people just keep wearing their blindfolds. Keep believing in that there's something good happening. The only time something's good is happening is because they create that something good. That something good is a lie. It's a manipulation to draw you back in to the very nature of the beast. That's a hard pill to swallow for most people because they're so drawn into words. Words are cheap. Words are cheap. Actions are everything. And I'm sorry, but I don't trust people who work at Fox News. I don't trust insurance brokers. I don't trust people who do Ponzi schemes. I don't trust people who do pyramid schemes. Oh, but it's different now. Oh, but they're different now. No, they're not. If they sold the soul once, they'll sell the soul again. You can forgive as much as you want, but I don't forget. So, I don't know. I can understand why people get upset who are trying to, you know, share their truth, what they see from day to day, that things aren't exactly what you think they are. For many years, I used to read for a lot of celebrities because I started reading, and my first mentor read for a lot of celebrities, you know, Joe Bon Jovi and loads of people she read for, famous. And it just happened to be that I was asked to go to live in LA and New York to continue my work, and I said I don't really want to live there. I'm happy on my mountain. So I used to go home, have my dinner with my now ex-wife Susan and my little daughter China, and then I used to, get a phone call. I need you. Okay, well, that was my job. I used to go back to the reading room, little tiny reading room, switch on my computer, and sometimes the screen was blank, well, a lot of the time, because they didn't want me to see who they were. A lot of the time, I'd read for B-listers, C-listers, because they all know each other, and I read for people who were, say married to extremely famous people, and reading on behalf of them because they didn't want to be seen me reading for them. So I read for the wife of anyway, it doesn't matter. I read for quite a few famous people, but they were all in LA. Most of them were in LA. And when I'd come home or I'd go for a walk, I used to think to myself that these people are not like you and I. First of all, they don't pay. They never pay. They're above paying. So I never understood that either. And I never asked for money. People would just say, okay, I'd like to pay you now. I never got paid off any of them. None, not one of them. But normal people like you and I, after a session, you'd say, oh, where do I pay? And I'd say, oh, I'll send you a link. I would never say to anybody, I'm going to send you a link before, because for me, it was important that what you got for your money, which was 35 euros, or it went up to 65 through the years, and then it went up to 120. And that was quite a lot of money. So I was exhausted, and but I got paid well. But you got to understand that a lot of the times when you're giving a reading or a healing to somebody who maybe have just lost their partner or lost their daughter, I would never ask for money. It was like, that's an affair of the heart. This is coming from my heart. I wouldn't even dare charge her. But if somebody was happy with the reading and they were just coming to read, for future and for healing, and they were happy and there was no suffering, real suffering, then they were happy to pay, and they'd pay downstairs. And I would always say, when after the reading, they would always say, where do I pay? And I says, oh, I don't touch money, because I didn't want to interfere. I says, but downstairs there's a till and there's a lady there who'll take your money. Only if you were happy with the reading, only if you feel it was worth it. So morally, I felt that was good, and the balance of reading for people who had no money was constant, did that constantly. There was a lot of people who didn't have any money at all, and that was okay, because I did my first 2 years of not charging for any readings or healings. I didn't charge a penny. So that was my training, and it stuck with me. And I've always been that way anyway. I always like to give and make people feel happier, and as if sometimes through those years I would give people pendants, and that pendant might be worth 300 euros, and the session might have been a reading at 80. So it was never really about the accumulation of wealth. It was about the enjoyment of doing it. And when people come to you when they're in a really bad place, because a lot of people came when they were in a really bad place, that is the most important and sacred partnership that can't really be explained. Only maybe if, like, somebody came to you and they were your friend, and they sat with you, and because they're your friend, they trust you, and they're going to start crying, right? And then they're going to start to tell you something really personal that happened to them. Now you're gonna be there, and you're gonna hold them, and you're gonna do everything you can to help them. My job was no different, apart from they were strangers, and they had to trust me. They had to, like, they're sharing their innermost pain and suffering and their secrets. So that to me was sacred, and I take that to my grave. But it's easy, because when you are working in that kind of energy, for me, what was given to them was theirs, not mine. And after the healing session, or after the reading, I learned to disconnect and to let it go. And I said this quite a few times. There were moments where I remember Pat from Heart FM. I used to be their psychic reader on the radio back then. Quite a few times I'd sit and have coffee with him, and I remember one day I was sat, and this woman came up to me, sat down and said hello, and I went, "Oh yeah, I'm fine, thank you, how are you?" She says, "Oh, really well." And I said, "Oh, good." Anyway, she went off, right? Pat sat next to me and said, "You know that lady who had just sat with you then?" I went, "Yeah." I said, "Do you know her?" I said, "No, I've never seen her in my life." And then she looked at me, she said, "You really are honest, aren't you?" And I said, "Why?" I said, she said, "You read for her 2 weeks ago." Because I told her that I forget, it just disappears. And she actually saw it in real time, and that is true. And you're going to think to yourself, that's bullshit. But I learned to let it go and not hold on to anything. In the moment, I'm there doing my utmost best to try and find resolution, solution, healing. But then after that, let it go. And I teach that in the Pure Energy Healing Academy. And if any of you have ever been to my academy, you'll see me and you'll look shocked. Because I always stand up and say, okay, after they finish, you kick them up their ass and tell them to get out, and you don't have nothing to do with it anymore. You don't think about it anymore. And people get really upset, saying, "Well, I thought you care about people." And I say, well, I do care about people, and the reason why I care and the reason why I kick them out and don't want to know anything thereafter is because I don't want to be worrying about that person, thinking, are they okay now? Thinking, are they going to contact me? Have they got worse? Because that is a fear that it has great power. And just like absent healing, when you think about good thoughts to heal somebody, your negative thoughts can also have an impact. It can have an impact. I know you've said, oh, but nobody can do damage and stuff, but the impact doesn't necessarily mean the impact on the client. The impact is on you and the doubt that you're having. So as at the very beginning of my healing process, I found that I kept saying, I am healed, I am well. And I said that as a mantra, I am healed. It's already healed. And I used to say this to the practitioners when they used to ask me what I'm saying. And I'm saying, I don't see cancer in that client. It's not there. There is no focus on cancer. The focus is on it's gone. There's no heartbreak in that client. It's gone. There is no grief. It's disappeared. And that is the way I believe a good healer works. The job's already done. And if you think about it in a spiritual sense, when somebody comes to you, do you think that was coincidence as a healer? No, I don't believe that at all. I believe that they were brought because something, whatever that is, that I can do is going to help that client. Therefore, who am I to interfere with that beautiful natural law, that spiritual law? I call it spiritual law. In fact, nature, those two words, nature is actually spirit. It's actually God. So when you understand this, the natural law, spirit law, is that this path, this future line is already There's already been, it's already done. So I'm only working on that principle that, well, there's no way somebody would come to me if I didn't have something. So there must be something I have to offer in the sense of my understanding of my personal experience that will touch this other person in a way that heals them. Or they may look at me and say, oh, you remind me of my dad, and I feel comfortable with you. Or you've got a gentle way about you, and I like that, and I feel happy with you, and now I'm healing without even knowing. It could be the colour of my eyes, it could be my shoes, it could be what I think about, what I've experienced in my life that has some kind of meaning to the spirit world that they brought this person to me. And I believe in spirit with all my heart, and I believe in good spirit. I believe in my spirit world, which is my home. I just call it my home, which I'm one day will go back to. So when you understand that, when you're giving a healing session and all of a sudden you feel a spirit in the room that comes in, and your client says to you, my grandma was just here, and I'm like, okay, I felt something, but that's nice because you felt something. And and soon as I felt my grandma, I started pouring tears, which is a sign of the heart healing, and a healing process taking place. And if somebody was to say to me, are we on our own? I don't believe we are. I think we can simply call for our mother, our father, if we love them, if they mean something to us, brothers and sisters, children, if they're in the spirit world, in our home world, we can call them and they're instantly there. And even if we don't call them, I think from day to day, I think they guide us in a way that we think it's our intuition, but sometimes I believe it's spirit's helping hand. And sometimes we can look upon something and think, oh my God, I'm going to go there, I'm going to do that. And we think it's our own mind looking through our eyes at something that we feel. It makes us feel good, where it's really spirit's helping hand guiding us gently. So I have a different interpretation to life these days through the work that I've done. And I believe there's more magic in this world, there's more spiritual magic in this world. But yes, it's been hijacked, it's been decimated, and what magic, real magic, is left seems to be very, very rare these days. Very sad. It's very sad, and it's all by design. They want you not to believe in spirit. They don't want you to believe in the magic. They don't want you to believe in your path, your journey, and they want to kill everything that is good and everything that is mystical about this world, and magical and beautiful. And I'm not talking about magic as in, cults and stuff like that. I'm talking about natural spirit, natural law, the beauty of this universe and how it works. But there you go. We got some plonkers on here today. I don't know. Sometimes we get some right knobheads on here. Sometimes they're really difficult. But anyway, they are what they are. They're in the place where they are. To a moths to a flame, eh? So I am wishing you all a beautiful day wherever you are. I think that's it, really. I don't think I've got anything else to say. There's more. Well, we actually said this a couple of years ago, and I said, get ready for these absolute numpties who are weak in mind, body and spirit, and they basically, without even realizing, they work on behalf of darkness. and they have a lot of attachments, a lot of dark spirits, and they're angry, and they're just doing nothing. The couch potatoes with no, they're just keyboard warriors. They've got no sense of knowing or what to do. They're just angry, they're just judgmental, and that is the parasites within them. The parasites not only of the physical but of the spiritual. There's a lot of them now, guys, and they're getting worse, and they're being fed more and more. They have no idea what love is, or kindness, or giving, or sharing. They have no concept of any of those things. They are just weak, angry, dark, and poor people who have to live with those people. Imagine them living with themselves for an hour. They couldn't even get on with somebody who were like them. So can you imagine that? If you put somebody with them who was just like them, they'd hate them. And it's like, well, yeah, you're hating yourself, pal. So everything that they do, everything, they don't even realize that they're lost, completely lost souls. And there are so many right now. It's really scary how many there is. But we have to keep going, and exactly, you don't let them dim your light. Just keep shining, and it's a great example. It's a great measuring stick to the fact that you are healing, and that you're working on yourself, and that you are a danger to darkness, and they don't like that. You vibrate at a frequency that they cannot feed from, and they are going to attack. They're going to send their minions, their numpties, their tools to attack, and that is exactly what's happening. That's exactly what's happening right now. So I am wishing you all the love in the world, and I've got to say, I think from 38 years old, I think my worst attack was my mentor. So my mentor, when I broke free from her, I had 3 years of vicious attacks. They were physical, not by her, but people she sent to attack me. We had some bad things happen, and the attack on social media was awful. It was dreadful. So that came at the point where, why did that happen? Well, we've got to know if you're true to your word. If you really believe in what you're doing, then you'll keep doing it. And if you don't, and you just want it for the sake of ego, then you're going to run. You're going to run a mile. And to be fair, I wanted to run many times, and it hurt badly. And there's never anything that I've ever really truly done that was so dreadful in the world of what's called spirituality. And it taught me a lot about the infiltration of the word spirituality, covens, Wiccans, all being hijacked. And there's a lot of people who use names, use circles, who use, high priestess, and they use all of these big words, but deep down, what are they? Who are they? And actions speak louder than words. I don't look at anybody who sends me a message and they tell me about their portfolio, their CV, or who they are. I don't care about that. That's meaningless to me. I want to know who you are by your actions. I want to see what you do and what you say and how you treat people. That's important to me. It's the only thing that's important. So you learn to, sift out the chaff from the weed, or those that pretend to be something that they're not. And you end up being quite lonely, actually, in this field of work. But it actually is the best thing, because in that loneliness, you get to hear a voice that is pure, that guides without other people interfering in your ear, telling you what you should and shouldn't do. So being alone doesn't mean you're alone. It means that you are in the energy of natural law or spirit law and spirit guides, and we are guided by the internal spirit within that is all and ever shall be. It is everything, and it's just beautiful. And then you realize that I'm not alone anymore, and you actually have to fight with yourself to think, is there something wrong with me? Because I don't need anybody, I don't need to be with anybody, because I'm happy being in this energy. How many of you can honestly say that you're happy being on your own? You might be able to say it for a day or 2 or 3. What about a week? What about a month? What about a year? You know, have you got anybody to go back to? Does anybody care? You know, should I be caring for anybody else? Like, when you are in complete balance of your consciousness and you are connected to your spirit and to the spirit world that is always around us, you're never alone. You don't feel unworthy, unloved. You feel part of this world that we come to, and you're busy doing what you feel you're here to do, and that is to create and do the best you can and be as kind and caring to humanity and make a difference. So that means you're always busy doing, so you've always got a job. But those who are lost, who are screaming at others, who are bitching and being nasty and all, they're lost. They have no path. They don't have that feeling of spirit inside. They're disconnected to that. So they're lonely and they've got a hole inside them, and they're angry and they're bitter and they're always thinking, because that's what happens when you're not connected to your consciousness. You think, and then your brain just continues, because there's no full stop in the brain. The brain is a tool, it keeps going. So it sends people crazy and they can't sleep, and then they take drugs or they take something to help them with this brain that continues to haunt them every day by what ifs or all the bad things. It's never positive, it's always negative. Why aren't they thinking love and kindness and joy and happiness? Because that's not what happens. And that's why they're angry, and everybody who says something nasty is a mirror of who they are. So I see who you are as soon as you start. I know who you are, and I don't feel sorry for you anymore. I used to feel sorry for you at one time, but that's your journey, not my monkey, not my circus, not my pig, not my farm. And I've learned to disconnect from that, and that isn't important. I've learned to see that the less we react to those kind of dark, lost souls, the more we grow stronger. Just like the Buddha said, pain is inevitable, and pain can come in different forms. Pain can come with people attacking you, but suffering is optional, and I choose not to suffer because it's my option, and my option says I'm not suffering from that no more. I'm not suffering fools. Fool of a took. But I'm not going to get angry and upset about it. I just say, thank God I'm not like that. Thank you for showing me, giving me a measuring stick for what I don't ever want to be. So I hope this little chat serves you well. I'm sending you all my love. Take care of yourself, everybody. Love you all. Shine bright. And if you've everybody on here, I send you honestly my love, and I hope you all have a lovely day, every single one of you, from the bottom of my heart. Have a good day and do something really productive. And do me a favor, go and find somebody and tell them why you like them. Send them a message, just one message. Just say, I've thought about you today, I've been thinking about you today, and I just want you to know this is the reason why I appreciate your friendship. Do that for me today. Just do that once. Just do it once. If you've not done it for a long time, do it once. I do it all the time as a mantra. I don't do it because I'm wanting brownie points. I'm doing it because I want to recognize the good in my fellow brother and sister. Not the bad times, not the hard times, but the good. The good in the people that I love. And I love you all, and you're amazing. All of you. Bye for now. Take care. Still got a little bit of a cough from England. Take care. Bye.